Hey guys, this is part 3 of how to draw the T-Rex from Jurassic Park. And I actually erased this part a little bit, and because I believed it was a little bit too dark and stuff. So right now I'm just putting in the detail back, and I'm just trying to create more of a 3D look, not too much of a 2D kind of look. So over here it's supposed to be a little darker as well. I really didn't like how it looked, so I had to go back in and redo that part a little bit. And over here I just made some parts a little darker, and I just put a couple of lines through it. Yeah, I'm really having some difficulty drawing this. I really find it kind of hard to draw some certain dinosaurs, especially from the movies, because they need to be exactly like it, and that's gonna be very hard. This is not actually one of Crash McGreary's illustrations. This is just an image that I found online. So yeah, just put this in. And now we can go back into the legs. And I find this part really hard. So over here there's supposed to be a little bit of shadow. And then over here there will be a lot of shadow. I'm just drawing it in, and let's just do it this way. So like this, and then over here the same thing. And then there's a line that goes like this, very dark one. Well, maybe this one is a little too dark. And then just draw a little bit of shadow coming from over there. Make this line very dark as well. And then there's a little bit of shadow over here. Now we can just go in with our kind of wrinkly skin texture. Just kind of try and put those in. And you can go through it with a couple of lines going like this. Or you can later on just put in some scales, but that's for later. And now we can use our eraser very well, because now we can try and create some highlights. So there's supposed to be one highlight over here and one over here. Maybe one over here on this tail as well. And one over there. So now I'm just darkening in some lines a little further apart. And also over here I want this part to be very much darker than what it is right now. Making this shadow a little bit more pronounced. And also let's get a little bit more shadow over here, this area. So it's really starting to kind of look the way I want it to look. Get a couple of lines over here. And then get a couple of lines over here. And now we want those very dark kind of scales. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna draw in those scales like this. And also over here as well. And you could make them darker. I'm not going to make them darker. But they are supposed to be very dark, and well, we could do something like this. And just darken in not the entire scale, but only the bottom part of the scale. Something like this. It looks pretty good. And also over here he has something like this and something like this over here as well. And then just a couple of lines again. And then just draw in this like this. And then I believe his foot is about done. So the only important things that we still need to do are his bottom jaw and his front limb. And then we can kind of draw in a stripe pattern on his back and maybe on his hind leg as well. I want this to be a little bit darker over here, and I want those lines to be a little bit more visible, a little better. Now I'm just going over it with trying a little bit more of an accurate stroke. And also over here, I want some lines to be very clearly visible. Alright, something like this. And now we can focus on his little arm over here, and these lines kind of go like this. And then you have those little kind of muscles as well. Make it a little darker over there, as well as over here. And kind of get in that feeling of those really big muscles. All right. And then some of those black scales again, but I'm not going to draw some contrast into these because they are very hard to see already. And I'll just leave the rest of his hand white, and now put in a little bit more texture into this part of his arm, and then his arm is about done. The only thing we can still do is put in a little bit of shade into his claws, to his toenails. Like this. And now for his bottom jaw, we have one huge line going like this. And that's just going to be a lot of shadow. And then there's also a little bit of shadow over here. And that's about it. Now we can try and get some scales into it, a little bit of detail. So yeah, around his teeth, I wanna try and get some really black, kind of something like this going on. Really dark scales. They just kind of get smaller. A little bit of shadow over here. Alright, so that's his bottom jaw. And let's get some shading into this part. Okay, so now what we need to do is put in some kind of pattern, stripe pattern and stuff. So I'm just darkening in some certain parts because I want them to still be very good visible once I put this pattern on top of it. And I want there to be a little bit of shadow over here, a little bit more than there was before, and also over here. No, this is just okay. So now we're gonna start on his face. Just draw in something like this. Do it pretty dark, but not too dark. And don't go overboard, just put in a few of those. These dinosaurs look a little bit more like the Jurassic Park 2 versions. I mean these T-Rexes. Because the Jurassic Park 2 versions also had patterns like this running along their skulls and their bodies. Alright, something like this, and then just do it on his whole entire body. And once you're done doing this, what you can do is go back in, and on the places where you put in those stripes, you can darken the wrinkles a little bit. This is really starting to come along pretty well. And you can even maybe even try to put some scales into those areas. So yeah, there's not really much to explain right now about what I'm doing, because I already told you guys exactly what I'm doing and how to do it. Well, I'm showing you guys how to do it, but yeah. Maybe I can even get it a little bit darker to make it look a little bit more realistic. But I think it's best for me to skip to the part where I put all of those in on his whole body. So I'll be back. Okay, so that part is done as well. And now we need to put a few of them like this. Make it really dark at the parts where it is really dark, and make it really light at the parts where it's really light. It will kind of make the feeling of depth into your drawing, get it a little bit more into your drawing. And that's pretty much all we're gonna add to that. Maybe a little bit over here, and that's all. So now what we're gonna do is we're going back in, and at the parts where you went over your wrinkles, you just darken them only at the spots where you went over it. So only at the darkened areas. But don't do this outside of those dark areas. Otherwise it will look strange. I think it would have looked a little bit better if I put some scales in first, but I believe this looks not very bad either. So this is really a hard part, to where the point that where you put those lines in, but they are you had to make those kind of stripes too dark. Then you had to make them darker than the lines that were already there, and that will kind of fade away those lines that were already there. I'm just making these a little bit longer. So yeah, this is really starting to look quite good. Alright. And now on the neck part you can just try and add some of those little scales in between those white areas, and also try to put them in over here as well. They might always add a little detail to your drawing, a little more than there already is. Sorry. A few over here as well. So yeah, alright. I believe this is not one of my best drawings, but I'm very happy with how it looks compared to the movies of Jurassic Park, because it looks pretty similar to the ones you see in the movie. But yeah, a mistake that I made was I made the body a little bit too long, so now his head looks a little bit small, but I believe it turned out to look pretty awesome. I believe the head is the best part of this whole drawing. So yeah, I'll be back when I put in the line. Alright, so let's sign it. Okay, so again, this drawing turned out to be pretty decent. I'm very happy with it. It's not the best that I could do. I mean, I could have done maybe 10 times better, but I decided to try out this new technique because the T-Rex skin is a little similar like what I have on paper right now. But so yeah, if you like the video, leave a like, comment below what you think about this drawing and the video, and don't forget to subscribe. So this was Dinosaur Drawer, and goodbye.